So today the topic that I have chosen is spirituality in our Bharatiya Sanatana Dharma. Before I do that, I'd like to pay obeisance to my Lord Narayana Surugurum Jagadekanatham Bhaktapriyam Sakalaloka Namaskritam Cha Traigunya-varjitam Vibhumadhyamisham Vande Bhavajnam Amarasura Siddhavanyam. You can all recite the Shanti mantra with me. I think all of you know it. Even if you are not online, if your mics are not turned on, you can say it from your place. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahavirang Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Well, the aspect of numbers. You cannot live in this world with numbers alone. But you cannot look at this world with just numbers. I mean, you need numbers. Numbers make life easy. It reduces the abstract concepts into concrete. It makes it easier to understand. Language often carries ambiguity. Although both of us speak the same tongue, very often understanding each other, the context of what we are saying might become difficult. That's where numbers make it very, very simple, very approachable. In Sanskrit, this thing is called Sankhya Shastra. Sankhya. Sankhya means number. Sankhya Nirvachana is Samyak Khyati, means that which can be understood in a Samagra way, Samichina way. Khyati means Prasiddha. Khyati means popular, very famous, very well known, well established. Various such meanings you can attribute to it. Well, I am Prasad. Vasu mentioned that I'm a Seenager. In Seenager, the scene is actually I'm trying to see things. Ager is I've aged. I'm not a teenager. So the S unit is a little misplaced. The Seenager, I'm trying to see things. I'm trying to see things as I age. I started aging. Okay, even if I take myself as a teenager, my entry into the spiritual realm is about a decade and a half old. Prior to this, I had studied a bit of Western philosophy, followed it very avidly, stumbled into Indian philosophy in a very accidental way. It wasn't a natural choice for me, but I think it was all God-given. I've seen this, that God brings things closer to you if you have the desire for it. Once you wish for something, it takes you ahead in it. Well, coming back to numbers. Suppose I tell you a mango is sweet. What will you say? If I'm talking to someone, take this mango, it's sweet. Well, I may call it sweet. Someone who has a higher habituation for sweets may say it's not very sweet. The sweet, very sweet, is becoming a very relative this thing. Well, I'm a little new to this online mode of teaching. My wife used to be very avid in this. I have to mention this. My wife left me on 30th September. She's not in this realm. She's not on this plane, not on the earthly plane. She was my friend, philosopher, guide, mate, probably the closest person that I lived with for the last 36 years. On 30th September, she bid goodbye to me. But every morning we spent reading, every day we spent writing something, every day we spent editing some spiritual literature. That's how we got into this. Today I picked up this topic because we are trying to enter the waters. When I heard of Vasu's this group, this elite group, this I can say a select group, which meets very frequently for meditation and studies linked to meditation. the dhyana part of it. Patanjali's yoga says there are 8 steps: yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. So it is the 7th step, the 8 steps that he has laid down. Thiram, sukham, asanam. Just 3 things. Again, we have used numbers. I talked about 8 steps in the yoga system, and the 7th being dhyana. And there are 3 words which describe asanam. It says Stiram, Sukham, Asanam. Do you know on an average how many times we use numbers in our talks? Scientists who have measured this from a wide sample have found out that we use about 200 times we use numbers in our daily talks or our estimates. For everything we need numbers. Without numbers it becomes difficult. Largely the world around is abstract. Like I told you, sweet. And again, for example, when you describe colors, it's very difficult to describe a color to anyone. If you like red, they'll ask you what red. Is it cherry red? Is it apple red? Is it rose red? Is it red like the lipstick that someone has? Is it red like some sari that someone has seen? Red like some bird? The red itself has probably a million shades, several million shades. So describing red, to tell someone what kind of red you're talking of, it's very difficult. But do you know there are numbers to describe these colors? So now we are moving with this concept of that having numbers makes the world simpler to understand. I'll give you a few examples. Just recently you had this Operation Sindoor, where they had to pick targets in the enemy country. So you just imagine about 20 years back, if you had to do that, probably you have to do a recce of the place, send your planes very close to it, choose the target, zero in, probably use a crosshair or something. Not very accurate. You still fire your missile and try to hit the target. And the target would be hit, say, within 100 meters here and there. But today, that's all boiled down to, say, GPS. In GPS, they pick a few coordinates, which are numbers. So those numbers are fed into your device. The device picks it up, feeds it onto the tracker on your missile. The tracker has intelligence in it. It reads those numbers and then tries to match the target. Again, those are numbers. It breaks down the target into numbers and then it hits the target. Becomes very accurate. So an abstract concept of hitting something which is very, very far away from you, you don't see it. You have just left your missile, you have left your bomb that has to consume the target at the end of it. So what does it do? It uses numbers from your end, takes one number here and number from the photographs that are created at the other end and hits the target very accurately. We could all see it on the TV. So that's how they break down even in warfare today. All the drones that they fly, all the missiles that they take out, there are missiles which can be shot 5,000 kilometers away today. You can just imagine how these missiles work. How they pick up a target which is within meters of where you're trying to hit. It's like picking a needle in a haystack. That's what they do in modern warfare. I talked about colors. I talked about, now let's see. Here, I'm just giving you one concept. Okay, let's look at Chaturmukha Brahma, who is our creator. We look at him as a creator. Do you know that he has an age? He does not have endless living as Chaturmukha Brahma. Do you know how many days he lives? How many years he lives? Just look at it. Okay, let's see how our ancients looked at time. You know how much of numbers they used. Okay, I will not go into this. The many. You just look at it. They could even calculate something like 0.36 milliseconds. This was the amount of time that a ray of light took to cross an atom, an anu. You just imagine our ancients had this kind of vision. Today we are talking of nanoseconds, we are talking of this, but they were already talking of this without any device. Okay, they had this. Now let's look at how time is measured in the Devatas. Our one Varsha, human Varsha or human year, okay, is equal to 1 day of the Deva. So 360 Varshas, human Varshas, makes one Deva Varsha. 360 years of us, none of us live that long. So 3 times, or probably it will be about 8 to 10 generations of ours makes one Deva Varsha. Devatas, they have one Varsha, which is 360 human years. Now let's come back and look at what is Chaturmukha Brahma's this thing. I hope you can see the screen. You know, our Yuga Chakra is divided from Kali, Dwapara, Treta and Krita. Kali is 432,000 human years. Right now we are in the 28th Kali Yuga of Vaivasvata Manvantra, which is the 7th Manvantra in the Yuga Chakra scales, in the Manvantra scale. Seven Manus have taken over the Yuga Chakra. 7th Manu has taken over the Yuga Chakra in which we are living. In that, there are 27 Yuga Chakras which are complete. In the 28th one, the 28th Kali Yuga is where we are living. And we have spent about 5,000 odd years in that. Now, the total Kali Yuga is 432,000 human years. Double that is Dwapara. 3 times Kali is Treta. 4 times Kali is Krita Yuga. In other words, 432, 8,64,000 years, that is Dwapara. 12,96,000 human years is Treta Yuga. 17,28,000 human years is Krita Yuga. This is one Yuga Chakra, one complete Yuga Chakra. If you add all this, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, simply is 10 times Kali, that is 43,20,000 human years. So maths makes it simple for you to see how much one Yuga cycle is. 1,000 such Yuga Chakras make one Dinakalpa, the daytime of Chaturmukha Brahma. That is 432 crore human years. 2 such kalpas. I think if all of you are doing your puja in the morning, you talk of Svetavaraha Kalpa, Dvitiya Pararthe, all these when you do the Sankalpa. In that, Kalpa is 1 day or 1 night. So 2 Kalpas make 1 Ahoratra of Chaturmukha Brahma. That is 1 day-night cycle of Chaturmukha Brahma. So 1 Kalpa, Dinakalpa itself is 1,000 Yuga Chakras. So a day, 1 day and night cycle of Chaturmukha Brahma is 2,000 Yuga Chakras. 432 into 2, 864 crore human years is just 1 day of Brahma. 1 day of Chaturmukha Brahma. So 1 year of Chaturmukha Brahma is 720 kalpas, which is nothing but 3,11,040 crore human years. You can just imagine what scale of time that is. So 100 years, he lasts 100 years. When he's 100 years old, he would have crossed 31,104,000 crore human years. That is his lifespan. So this 31,104 is a significant number in his lifespan. Okay, now let's look at what this number means. 31,104 is called a narcissistic number. What do we mean by this? There are 2 terms given to these type of numbers. They are called Armstrong number or narcissistic number. But in Armstrong number, you raise the digits in that number to the cube. Like here in the first column that you see, I have raised 3 to 3 cube, 27. 1 to 1 cube, which is 1. 27, 1, 1. And 4 cube is 64. 0 cube is 0. So I have not taken that into the column. In Armstrong numbers, you can only take 3 digits if you are doing a cube. If you take 4 digits, you raise it to the power of 4. If you take two digits, you raise it to the power of 2. That's in the Armstrong number. But in a narcissistic number, it is different. In narcissistic, I hope you're getting this. Am I becoming a little too fast or little too fuzzy? I think if anyone can answer this, I'm just waiting for your response. Is it okay? You're able
No,
to
it's
understand?
fine. It's
Yeah,
fine.
It
okay.
is fine. Everyone is muted right now
That's
for recording. Then we will open it up. Yeah,
okay. Okay.
it's fine. It's fine. Please proceed.
So you total this, total the cubes. On the right column, you get 93. Again, go back to 93. You do the cubes again. Cube of 9, cube of 3, dash, dash, dash. I won't repeat this. So when you come to the last column, you will see that when the total arrives to 153, you can do this. You can all do this. You can pick up 31104 and do a cube like I have done it here. You can use a simple spreadsheet. It's easy to do it. So when you get 153, when you take the cubes, it comes back to 153. When you add the cube of the digits in 153, it comes back to 153. Similarly, there are numbers like 370, okay, 371, 403, or 4, I think 404. These are all narcissistic numbers. If you do the same process with that. So the lifespan of Chaturmukha Brahma comes down from 31,100,000 ಕೋಟಿ ಸಾವಿರ ವರ್ಷಗಳು. That is, I explained that in Kannada. In English, is 31,104,000 crore years. Got it? It's a narcissistic number where you can't go beyond the last one. Now let's look at the last number. The last number is 1 plus 5 plus 3, which is 9. This 9 is a very significant number in our Tattva Shastra, in our philosophy, in our Bharatiya philosophy. Go back to 31104. Add the digits. 3 plus 1 plus 1 plus 0 plus 4 is 9. 9 is hidden in most of the numbers. Bhagavadgita has 18 chapters. 8 plus 1 is 9. Mahabharata has 18 chapters. 18 parvas. So 1 plus 8 is 9. 18 is a very, very significant number. 9 is the largest single digit number that you can think of in the number scale. 0 is a perfect number. You can't do anything with 0. You can't do anything with the Lord. It's the Lord who does everything to you. The Lord is on your right side. If the 0 is on the right side of all your digits, your wealth adds up. If the Lord is on the left side, if you are left Lord out of your life, life does not add up, no matter what digits you carry with you. You understand numbers now? No, this is another thing. If you heard of Akshohinis, when we talk of, there were 18 Akshohinis in the Mahabharata war. The Mahabharata war was fought on 18 days. Okay, there were 11 Akshohinis on the side of Kauravas, 7 on the side of Pandavas. If you take the 18 Akshohinis, all these are narcissistic numbers, 109350. You can go back and check that, what I've told you. These are the divisions of, on the left side you see, they are the divisions of an Akshohini. Patti, Senamukha, Gulma, Gana, Vahini, Prathana, Chamu, Anikini and Akshohini. And you just see the 3 times Patti, Senamukha, 3 times Senamukha is Gulma, 3 times Gulma is Gana, dash, dash, dash. Only between Anikini and Akshohini, it is 10 times. 10 times an Anikini. Vyudhan Pandavanikam, that is Anikini. Vyudhan Pandavanikam, Drupada Putrena, he says, no, Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta, Yuyutsava, Mamaka, Pandavaschaiva, Kimakurvata, Sanjaya, Sanjayo Vacha, Drushtvatu Pandavanikam, Vyudan Duryodhanastada, Acharyam Upasangamya, Raja Vachana Bhavravit. Their Anikini is nothing but one layer below Akshohini. There is a sub layer of Akshohini. is what Duryodhana is talking of in that shloka. I don't know how many of you would have encountered this or found this explanation in the Bhagavad Gita shloka. So I'm just trying to tell you that this is what is Anikini, what you see. He also talks about Chamum. Chamum is the next previous layer. The preceding layer of Anikini is Chamu. He talks of that in the next shloka, Duryodhana. Vyudhan Drupada Putrena Tava Shishyena Dhimata. Doesn't he say that? He talks of the Chamum, Acharyam Mahating Chamum. He says that. The Chamum is nothing but the preceding layer of Anikini. So see these numbers. These numbers again are narcissistic. So these are all hidden. I mean, the number 9. Now I was talking of how sweet something is. I just pick this table. It's a Harvard University generated table. You look at this, some cranberry juice to sugar, the best sugar-free natural, that is zero. That's a calorie-free without this thing. Then if you take your various beverages, how much of sugar they have. It's easy when you break it down to numbers. Is it not? You look at, do you know, most of you might be having Coca-Cola. You consume about 10 teaspoons of sugar in it. This is about 200 ml. Can you imagine drinking a cup of tea with 10 teaspoons of sugar? But when you drink cola, you happily drink it. When you drink bottled orange juice, you are consuming 10 teaspoons. If it's an aerated one, 11, etc. So when you say sweet, you can boil it down to number of teaspoons of sugar. It becomes easy to understand. Since all of us have eaten sugar, we have tasted sugar. When we talk of it in terms of the number of teaspoons, an abstract concept like sweet becomes concrete. Okay. In fact, when they discuss sweetness in the food industry, they use a term called bricks, B-R-I-C, brick. How many bricks sweet? Okay, when that's how they do the measure. So these are again numbers. So nothing abstract. So when it's not abstract, it's easy. I'll give you another example. Modern day cooking. When we all cook, how do we cook? How many of you have a kitchen scale? I bet most of you will be having a kitchen scale at home. You even measure the quantity of, say, the salt you put into your dish, so many grams. Or when you're measuring the sugar, you measure so many grams. When you do something, you take measurements. You take so many cups of rice, so many spoons of this. Those are all specific measures. But you know how my grandmother did it? She used to always talk about handfuls of something. She would say, if you're making sambar, you take one chitke of this. Okay, in Kannada, you can understand. A sprinkling of this, a handful of that. That's how she would do it. So between an expert and a novice finds it easy if it is broken down to numbers. An expert has those numbers dovetailed in his atma, dovetailed in his mind. It's already hardwired into him. Once it's hardwired, you don't need those numbers. Once Paramatma is inside you, you have discovered him, you don't need numbers. The world around you becomes easily understandable. Now let's go back. We'll go back to individual numbers. I suppose now you've got a hang of what I'm trying to come down to. Our spirituality, if you understand numbers, you understand philosophy easily when you're doing our Tattva Shastra. It's called Tattva Shastra because it has two parts. One is psychology, one is philosophy. Both are intertwined in such a way. In the Western world, you have to study psychology separately, philosophy separately, economics separately, sociology separately. Just the way our hospitals are built today. If you have to go to if you have some sickness, you will be sent to a cardiologist, you will be sent to a nephrologist, you will be sent to a bone specialist, you will be sent to a lung specialist, pulmonologist. Okay, then you have people who deal with the nerves, people who deal with your left eye, who deal with the right eye, with left hand, left thumb, right thumb. It's specialized that much. That is how the Western world does its education. In our system, education was one integral whole. From the integral whole, they would look at the parts. Okay. So here, when we look at our world is a little different. We move from the whole to the parts, not from the parts to the whole. You have a top-down approach. They have a bottom-up approach. If you have all experienced a hospital, you will understand how troublesome it is. You run between one specialist and another specialist. Similarly, in buildings, if you go to dentist, you have an orthodontist. You have for doing a simple filling, you have another type of dentist. For doing your dentures, you have one type of dentist. For putting a clip on your teeth, you have one more type. For looking at your gums, you have a third type. You have so many types. I mean, medical science has got divided like that. That's the Western way of education. In our system, it was not so. Now let us look at it. Now this is the shloka I picked up from Vishnu Sahasranama. Here is Yudhishthira who is asking Bhishmacharya, who is lying on a bed of arrows. Sharatalpa. He is lying on that. Sharatalpa the Shayana. He is lying on that. So Yudhishthira has gone there to ask Bhishma to tell him something. If you all been reciting Vishnu Sahasranama in the Purva Pithika, this shloka comes. Krutva dharmanasheshena pavanani cha sarvashah yudhishthira shantanavam punarevabhya bhashata is the preceding line. In that, then you say Yudhishthira eko vishnur mahadbhutam prutak bhutan yanekashah trin lokan vyapya bhutatma bhumte vishva bhugavlyaya. Bhishma, he is asking Bhishma to tell him about an infinite source. But the number he uses there is Ekaha. I'm sorry. I think I used the wrong shloka. What does he say? Kimekan daivatal loke kim vapekam parayanam stuvantah kankam archanta prapnuyurmana vashubham. Kimekam. He says, who is that one daivatam loke? Loke means the Veda. Who is that one devata in the loka, in the Vedas? Kim va api ek parayanam. Kimekam parayanam. Who is that one ashraya, shelter for the parayanas, for the muktas, for those who have given up worldly bondage. Stuvantah kim archanta prapnuyuh manavashubham. By praising whom? Stuvantah kim. By praying to whom? Kim archanat prapnuyat. Acquires. Manavah. Mananashilaru. People who are into mananam, who are into contemplation, who are into meditation, who are into dhyana, like in your meditation circle. So those who are doing dhyana on a daily basis, who is it? That one power that they pray to. This is the question. This is a simple question. But what is he trying to find out? He's trying to find out about infinite Lord. Lord with infinite qualities, infinite gunas. Anantam Purushottamam. Next, Bhishma tells him that in your mata, bhavata paramo mataha. The next shloka he says this. So then Bhishma goes on to tell him the infinite qualities of the Lord. Actually, he recites the Vishnu Sahasranama. What is Sahasranama? 1,000 names of the Lord. We are trying to understand this with a finite number, 1,000 names. Is it only 1,000 names? Nama is an adjective used for namana. Namana is prayer. Nama is not a noun. How do we know it's not a noun? Well, Vedavyasa himself says, Yani namani gaunani vikhyatani mahatmanah rishibih parigitani tani vakshami bhutaye. Gaunani nama, gunavachaka namagalu. Adjectives, not nouns. He's given you a grammatical point there. These are qualifications of the Lord. They are not nouns, they are not names of the Lord. They are qualities, they are forms, they are the rupas, the 1,000 rupas, the 1,000 forms, 1,000 gunas. Sahasra actually means infinites. Like in Kannada we say Saviraru, thousands of qualities of the Lord. Sahasra. Kannada, Savira Namagalu. You go more precise, Savirada Namagalu. You can read that in two ways. Save illada namagalu, ಮೃತ್ಯುವಿಲ್ಲದ ನಾಮಗಳು, ಸಾಯದೇ ಇರುವಂತ ನಾಮಗಳು. ಯುಗ ಯುಗಾಂತರದಲ್ಲೂ ಇದನ್ನ over several yugas will keep reciting this beautiful stotra. Stuti is nothing but praise. Stuti sodu means praising the Lord. Why do you praise the Lord? You use his good gunas, you amplify his good gunas so that part of it reflects in you. If it reflects in you, you carry good qualities. If it does not, you go back to your bad ways. Well, there are several of these ekas in this. Again, if you go to the Phalashruti, there is a Prakshipta Phalashruti in this, in which Prakshipta means it's an add-on, it's not part of the Mahabharata, but we all do it when we recite. In that Arjuna asks the Lord, he says, Padma Patra Vishalaksha Padmanabha Surottama Kimek. He tells him, no? Bhaktanam Anuraktanam Trata Bhava Janardana. Bhagwan Uvacha Yomam Nama Sahasrena Stotum Ichchati Pandava. One who wishes to recite the 1,000 adjectives, 1,000 qualifications, 1,000 rupas, 1,000 forms, 1,000 different ennobling adjectives of the Lord, thousands of that. What does he have to do? Soham ekena shlokena sthuta evana samshayah. He has to only recite one of these shlokas. What? The Sahasranama shlokas. If he recites that, he acquires Shubham. What is the meaning of Shubham? Shubham, it's again an abstract concept. Is it not? We talk of this very easily when we walk on the road. Shubhavagli. When we try to wish someone, when we try to bless someone, we say Shubhavagli. So Shubha means saying Vardhanam. Let the good in you increase. Let good things in you increase. Let good things around you increase. That is Mangala or Shubha. That is the meaning of that. So here you have one shloka which says Eko Vishnu Bhahat Bhutam Pratak Bhutan Inekasha. This is again in the Phalashruti you come to this. Vishnu there is only one of his type. Pratak Bhutan. There are different bhutas, different jivas are aneka. Aneka means can be two, but it does not mean two. All of us understand aneka is more than two. In fact, it can be infinite. So the use of numbers in this shloka again. So that you look at this, you can easily understand abstract concepts when you break down these numbers, when you relate to these numbers. How do these numbers help you? Well, psychologists call these as memory pegs. Okay, if you attach a number to something abstract, it's easy to remember that. For example, I have one pair of shoes, I have one set of glasses, I have 2 TV sets at home, I have 4 computers. I mean, these numbers are easy to remember. How many sets of clothes you have? If you have numbered them, you can remember them. In fact, in Bangalore, they carried out a census of trees. They had to measure the number of trees in Bangalore. If you just say Bangalore has a lot of trees, how many trees? It will come down to a number. Is it not? So on an average, they say when you use weight, when you use distance, when you use temperature, etc., you come down to numbers. What is at the other end is an abstract thing, but you use numbers. So the most abstract of everything that you can understand is a spiritual concept. What do we mean by spiritual? Spiritus comes from a term which says something that is inside you, inside the human, inside your Atma, your soul. That is Adhyatma. Is Adhyatma important? Well, Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says this. If you have gone through, I'm sure many of you have gone through several iterations of Bhagavad Gita. This comes probably in the 13th chapter where it talks about this. Adhyatma jnana nityatvam tattva jnanartha darshanam etad jnanam iti proktam ajnanam yathatonyatha. He says there are only two things you need to know. Adhyatma jnana nityatvam, the eternal nature of Adhyatma jnana. That means life after life after life after life. When you come into existence, you always reflect on who am I, where have I come from, where am I going. This is basically your Adhyatma jnana. This question of who am I, where have I come from, where will I go? From where? Not in my daily bus, not in my daily car, not in my daily scooter. But when I use Chariram Rathamevacha, it says, this is what Yama says in Kathopanishad. Your Sharira is a Ratha. Your Sharira is a Ratha. It is carrying the Atman in it. When this Ratha's journey ends, before it begins, the Atman is not in the Ratha. He comes from somewhere. Then he gets into this Ratha called the Sharira. Then at the end of the journey, he leaves this Ratha. Where does he go? He does not know. This search is Adhyatma. Tattva Jnana. Tattva Jnana means the search of truth. What we call as truth is a very difficult concept to understand. It's the only thing we need to understand. It's extremely difficult to understand. What I see as truth, you don't see as truth. What you see as truth, somebody else sees there's something wrong with you. That's how the world proceeds. Truth itself is a very, very abstract concept. So again, you go back to numbers. So Eka, this is number one. When the world started, when Srishti started, there was only Om. Om was just one word, one Shabda, Eka Shabda. The Shabda represented the Lord. And where was the Lord? If we read the Bhagavata, etc., it talks about the Srishti Kala Adi. In that, it says, you are sleeping on water. If nothing existed, where did water come from? This is automatically a question that all of us will ask if you're reading this. That's how we put it down. In fact, the Westerners have made things easy for us. They call these texts as mythological texts. Where did the word mythology come from? Mithya is from our Sanskrit. And we like fools use this mythology when we talk to Westerners. They are not mythological texts. They are philosophical texts. They are the texts that try to open our eyes. So you should never use the term mythology when you talk about Mahabharata and Ramayana. They are itihasa. Itihasa. This is how the life existed in those days. So you must go back and relook at these texts from the Oriental way, not from the Occidental way. Don't use the dictionary to read Mahabharata. Don't use the dictionary to read Ramayana. Don't use the dictionary to read Bhagavad-gita. These words have meanings within it. In fact, Sanskrit is a language that is built on dhatus. Dhatus are elementary sounds. An elementary sound combination makes a word. Shabda makes a word. Two or more shabdas joined together makes a word. Two or more words together makes a sentence. Many sentences together makes a paragraph. Many paragraphs together makes a chapter. Many chapters together makes a grantha. In all this, there are shabdas from a, I, U, starts with a. In Sanskrit, there are 52. The last letter is Ksha. So Akshara means to Ksha, Ra means Ramate. Bhagavanta, he takes joy in your uttering each of these shabdas. Whenever you utter any shabda, whenever you make any shabda, any noise, any sound, you are uttering Bhagavanta's nama. You are uttering his quality. The basic sound represents his Sarva Shabda Vachaka. Every sound on earth talks about Bhagavan. In fact, this is Acharya Madhva's one of his bhashyas. When I read these texts, I go through the bhashyas of Acharya Shankara, Acharya Ramanuja, and Acharya Madhva. We have to look at our philosophy in an evolutionary scale. Don't look at them on comparative scales. Don't model. We should look at them in an evolutionary scale. When you look at that, Acharya Madhva was the last of the philosophers in this line. Each of these people have given us gems in this philosophical literature. In fact, we somehow stop with reading one of the acharyas. You should read all the three. Only then you get a hang of the word. When you read all the three, you get a better perspective. And some of the basic concepts, because Acharya Madhva was the last, and by the time he came, there was a lot of writing in existence. He made his shishyas write down whatever he taught. He gave a lot of basic concepts, and understanding the world from basic concepts becomes a little more easy. He's the one who brought out, and whatever he says every time, that whatever I say is not my words, these are words from the Shastras. I have not said anything original. Nothing that I need to say is not already said. It's already been said in the Shastras. So from there he comes on to say that Bhagavanta is Sarva Shabda Vachaka, Sarvajna, Sarvashatta, Sarvagata. So this Sarva is something that attaches to Bhagavanta's Nama. So you look at this. So all the sounds you make from Ak to Ksha, Ra is Ramete. He is happy. He takes delight. He takes pleasure that you are doing it in a prayerful way. Utter your words in a prayerful way. Every time you talk, think of the Lord. Your talking is a karma. If thinking of the Lord when you talk comes into it, it becomes prayer. That is Archanam. Kimekam, Daivatal Loke Kim Vapekam. So these shlokas break down a very complex topic of which can be understood in an abstract way. When you come down to numbers, you have to think of only one deity, that is the Lord. We are monotheistic. Lord has multiple forms. If you have done Vishnu Sahasranama, there are shlokas which tell you that Eko Naika Savaka Kim Yattat Padamanuttamam. Eko Aneka is one, is Aneka, is many. He is there in everything, every number, but you don't have to look at every number. Look at one number which is the Lord, one number which is Bhagavanta himself. Got it? So Dva Vimau Purusha Loke Ksharachakshara Evacha. This shloka talks about the number two. After Srushti, okay, I had asked you a question that there was water. So what is that water? If nothing existed, only the Lord existed. Where did the water come from? The entire world went into a sukshma state. It went into the atomic state. It got broken down. Atma, Jada, Jiva, Paramatma existed in their elemental form. Paramatma had everything in his udara. Udara is his stomach. That's what the Shastra says. Shastra talks of stomach because we understand stomach in our anatomy. But the Lord does not need a stomach. He does not need eyes. He does not need ears. He does not need hands. He does not need legs like us. But he has everything. So this is a very abstract way of understanding the Lord. In fact, there is a song by Kanakadasaru. I just heard it today. ನೀನು ಮಾಯದೊಳಗೋ ಅಥವಾ ಮಾಯ ನಿನ್ನೊಳಗೋ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಅಂತ. That means, are you inside Maya, or is Maya, you are inside Maya, or Maya is inside you? I can't decide. They both look same to me. I mean, it's so very abstract. Is this Deha inside you, or you are inside the Deha? I can't make out. So it's very abstract. I mean, Adhyatma is not very easy to understand. He is inside you, he is above you, he is all around you. He is inside you, but he is not taking shelter in you. You are taking shelter in him. Is it not abstract? Vasu, do we have time or we have to close?
We have another 5 minutes, and then we can continue the next time if you want in the second part.
Yeah, actually, since we started late, we lost a lot of time.
Ah,
Uh,
so we can go up to 8 o'clock.
okay. Are all okay
And
with it?
yeah, we close at 8. We can have a short closure and a Shanti mantra. We can
Okay.
take the time up to 8 o'clock. And if you don't have to hurry through, we can have a second part to the talk.
We can do that. If all are okay, if you're open to
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
what,
Please.
am I going too fast? I'm not getting any feedback. I mean, am I,
Uh,
am,
yeah, people can chat. Towards the end, I'll open the mic and camera
right,
so that.
right.
Hmm?
Okay, I'll take the feedback then. We'll end with a brief introduction to this number two. After Srushti, the Loka got divided into this number two. One became two. So here he talks of this is 15th, the Purushottam Yoga chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Let's all understand one thing. The Vedas are not open to people like you and me who are outside in this world. You need a Gurukula, you need a Guru, you need an adept who has gone through the Vedas, who is willing to take you as a Shishya. It's, uh, it's, it's not a very free for all kind of life. There are a lot of rigidities attached to it. So for us, the Lord has given us two great granthas. One is Vishnu Sahasranama, the other one is Bhagavad Gita. If you go through these, if you have time and if you go through Mahabharata, if you go through Ramayana, the entire Tattva Shastra and Adhyatma Jnana are built into it for common people. So it's for us to read. In fact, Mahabharata and Ramayana, I tell many people, is just like what you talk of in management studies. You talk of case studies. They're just like case studies. They use case studies to bring a concept to life. Ramayana and Mahabharata use stories, which are the case studies in management style, to bring concepts of philosophy to you. They come on a platter to you. The stories, they are like toffees in which medicine is hidden, sugar coated quinine pill. The bitterness is inside, which is the medicine. Since you don't like the bitterness, the sweetness outside. But we tend to enjoy the sweet and forget the medicine inside. We need to look for the medicine when you read the stories. The stories are not what they are at the top level. So you need to look a little deeper. So in this second shloka, as Srishti happened, Loka got into Dva, the dual state. Dva imo Purusha Loke. He talks about this. In fact, Kapila, who started Kapila, Bhagavanta, who came in the form of Kapila Muni as the son of Devahuti and Kardama. Devahuti was the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. Swayambhuva Manu was the first Manu in our Yoga Chakras. Swayambhu Manvantra was the first Manvantra. The Manu of that Manvantra was Swayambhuva Manu. His daughter was Devahuti. And there was Kardama Muni. Kardama was the son of Prajapati, Brahma, Chaturmukha Brahma. So these two prayed to the Lord and asked him to come as their son. He appeared as the son of Kardama and Devahuti as Kapila. Kapila Muni was the one who established Sankhya Shastra. Don't read Wikipedia for this. When you read Wikipedia, they talk about a Kapila who existed in the 6th or 7th century CE. And Swayambhuva Manu was not there in 7th century CE. I just told you about the Yuga Chakras. Kali Yuga itself is 4,32,000 years. So this 7th century CE is just about 1,300 years from today. So you couldn't have had that Kapila Muni. The Kapila Muni they talk of in Wikipedia. If you read Western literature, you'll get confused. It is not that Kapila Muni. You need to overlook that. This Kapila Muni goes back to the first Yuga Manvantra, Swayambhuva Manu. Why we are in Vaivasvata Manvantra. Vivaswan was the Manu in our Manvantra. And we are in the 28th Kali Yuga. So here he talks about Purusha Loke. Purushas have a Loka. Loka is Veda. In the Vedas, there are two types, Dva Vimau, Purushas. Kshara cha Akshara eva cha. Kshara means ones which can be destroyed, ones which face destruction, ones which lose form. Akshara, it does not lose form. Kshara Sarvani Bhutani. Sarvani Bhutani, people like us, the living beings, the Chara Prapancha, other than the Lord, we are all Bhutani, including the Devatas. Kutastokshara, Putaha is the sky, Akasha. Putaha is Lakshmi. He is called Akshara. He is called Akshara Purusha. Purusha, now you may be confused. You may say, people who look at toilet signs, Purusha and Stri, Purusha means male. It's not so. Again, we go back to the wrong English dictionary. Purusha means person. Purusha means person. Person is not necessarily male. It has no gender. It can be male, it can be female. Purusha can be female, Purusha can be male. But unfortunately, we read English dictionaries for this. Purusha, the nearest, again borrowed from Sanskrit, is person. The root is Purusha for that. So you have person. Person is not gender specific. So Dva Vimau, there are two types of people in this loka. So when the world came into existence, the Dvandva Loka came into existence. Chara, Achara, Karana, Karya, Kri, Purusha. The genders came, male and female, the division happened. When the existence started, of course, it followed a sequence. If you read the Bhagavata, it tells you in what sequence life flowed on the earth. In fact, science tries to explain this through evidence. Unfortunately, the tools we have today, even let's say like carbon dating, it goes back up to 50,000 years. If you are looking at Kali Yuga, which is more like 32,000 years, or Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, which are manifolds this, you will not be able to get evidence. I mean, there could be pralaya in between, there could be normal destruction in between. You would have lost a lot of things. In fact, I was telling someone that we used to laugh when people said that they could use, astras and shastras. Astras are weapons which work with mantras. What are mantras? They are algorithms. Today we look at it as algorithms. In those days, they use mantras. And that mantra could perform a specific purpose. And we know it's possible when we look at missiles today, that you can make them perform a specific purpose. Destroy so and so person, you put his fingerprint, you put his iris print, you put some of his biometrics in it, it can destroy him. That's the kind of weapon you have. This is what they had in those days. Narayanastra, Brahmastra, Tvashtastra. So these astras, they carry the biometrics as we understand it today. So this Akshara, person, Purushas, this is the two types. So the world evolved duality at that time. Duality means you look at this cold and hot, Sukha, Dukha, Labha, Nashta, Labha, Alabha, Jaya, Ajaya. These dvandvas, they started flowing in when the Loka started. The Atma started experiencing the dvandvas. Paramatma was dvandva tita. He was above these dvandvas. So if you have to reach the Paramatma, you need to reach above these dvandvas. Sukha dukkha same krutva labha labha jaya jayo. Tat tasmat yoga yujyasva. He says that Samatvam Yoga Uchate. So you look at it, he again uses the Dvandva to tell you rise above the Dvandva. In another place he says Traigunyam Vishaya Vedat Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. Rise above the three gunas. What are the three gunas? Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Again three. Again he uses number, uses simple number to tell you how to reach him. The process is not simple. Unless you understand the number, unless you understand the Lord, nothing is simple in it. So we will just wind up with this. Thank you very much.